Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the least comfortable show on the web. It is The System is Down, where we talk about all the uncomfortable topics like conspiracies, politics, religion, and the things that go bump in the night, ruffle the feathers, and wad the panties. And we've got an especially uncomfortable one for you today. Not gonna spoil it. We're gonna kick this intro first and get weird. Where's my frickin' button? All right, here we go. Let's get weird.
The following is a Goulash Media production. goulashmedia.net.
Remember a simpler time when it was okay to be weird, have fun, and think for yourself?
Well, those days are over. The art of conversation itself is dead. Sacrificed on the altar of divide and conquer and disguised as political correctness and spared feelings. I believe that unity can only come from truth, and that the only way to find truth is by exploring and embracing our valuable differences and having civil, open-minded, and uncomfortable discourse. Conspiracies, politics, religion, and all the taboo topics your family just praise you don't bring up around the Thanksgiving dinner table. We are here to literally change the world one uncomfortable conversation at a time. So if you're easily offended, put your big girl panties on and buckle up, Buttercup, because you chose to be here. I'm Dan Smots, you are the power, and this is The System is Down.
Yes. Welcome back to the show. Welcome back to your favorite place to get offended. The System is Down. Kill... Not the mute button. Man, I'm not on my game today. Kill the music, if I can find where kill the music. Okay. Welcome to the show. This show is brought to you by a couple of sponsors before we get into our conversation. The first and foremost being you guys in the Downers Club. People like, oh man, I did not update this. We've got like 3 more people in here that I did not add to the list. I apologize. I will read you off later this week. And maybe, just out of respect to you guys, I won't read anybody else on this list, and we'll only focus on you. Nathan Sipes, Ryan McWilliams, David White, Lucas Riley, Justin Zielinski, John Barnhouse, William Wells, and others. If you want to get your name on that list, if you want to become a sponsor of the show or a producer of the show and continue making this thing a bigger, better, more wonderful viewing and listening experience for yourself, you can do so at patreon.com/The System is Down. That is also, more importantly, where you can get more weird, more raw, more offensive, more weekly content, bonus episodes of the show every single week at patreon.com/The System is Down. This show is also sponsored by The Royal Green, which is a book by the wonderful Jack Casey, who has been on the show. Go check it out. We talk at length, in depth, about what the book is all about. But it's your kind of, I almost said your average or typical, but it's not average or typical. It's a Civil War story based in the future, but also kind of fantasy. It's a weird collection. It's not even a collection. It's an interesting story. Just check it out. I haven't read it, but my wife is reading it right now. So check it out at theroyalgreen.com. Theroyalgreen.com. Check it out. All right. We are also sponsored by Free Ounce of Kratom at mybravebotanicals.com or freeounceofkratom.com. If you have not tried Kratom, now's your chance, and you can try it for free. It gives me energy and a nice glow and focus that I don't get as well from caffeine anymore. And it is all natural, and it is available in every state that allows it. Also available in every state that allows it, which is, I believe, all of them. They're currently selling Delta 8 THC products. So you can get your weed, you can get your vapes, your gummies, and your flower, and your joints, and all those fun things for yourself. It is within the legal limit in, I believe, almost every state. Check it out and enter the promo code TSID for 5% off your entire order at mybravebotanicals.com or freeounceofkratom.com. Again, promo code TSID. All right, we've got a different kind of conversation today. It's not going to be politics. Well, maybe. Who knows where these things will go? Who knows what rabbit trails we'll get down? But I've got a very special guest today. It is Gene Sellers. Gene, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing great.
Good.
Great.
Now, Gene, you were introduced to me by a mutual friend of ours who has a story of his own that we might get to at a later time, but he said that your story was worth digging into in relation to some corruption in the church, corruption in like the Baptist church in particular, and I wanted to get your thoughts. Now, let me preface by saying we're not here to slander or anything like that. I don't. I'm just here to hear your story. I'm not going to like call you out on anything. Well, I mean, I might push back a bit, but I'm not here to like, I don't know, encourage you spreading false information about others. So if you are, that's on you. But we talked before the show, and man, your story is an interesting one, and I definitely want to dig deeper into it. So before we get to actually what we're here to talk about, give a little bit of background on you and kind of your upbringing leading up to the situation.
Well, my upbringing was I was raised by my grandma, Southern Baptist. I went to church every Sunday. I had to wear a tie, a shirt, and like a long sleeve shirt.
Mm-hmm.
I had to go sing hymns and listen to like hellfire preaching,
Yeah.
which had its funny moments. Actually, sometimes it wasn't that bad.
Sure.
But I guess I was into music really, really big. I still am. I was in punk bands. I love heavy metal. I love death metal. Basically I wasn't the church type. And my grandma was concerned that she was concerned that I guess maybe I was gonna go to hell or
Yeah.
ruin my life. I guess it's hard for a grandma to raise a teenager, especially one like me who just wanted to get drunk and play music all the time.
So you were the rebellious
Yeah.
type.
Very rebellious, yes.
Cool.
Very, very rebellious. Fuck the system, all that.
Amen. I hear you. I'm still with you now. But so you were raised primarily by your grandma then?
Yeah, I was raised by her. My parents weren't fit to raise me or my sister, so my grandma, my dad's mom took me, our mom's mom took my sister. But,
Why am I getting a
yeah,
call?
she
Hold on a second.
very
My
good.
daughter is trying to FaceTime me in the middle of an interview. That's lovely. Sorry about that. You were saying?
Very good. I got kids in there.
Yep.
But she was I guess concerned about me and where I was going in my life. And I was 16. I didn't really care much about the future. But so she got some members from the church who knew about this place called Camp Tracy in Glen St. Mary, Florida.
Before we get to
That
that,
it was a good place.
I'm curious. Like, were you? I know that they were pushing for like, you to be religious and all that. Were you religious? Did you buy into that stuff, or was that part of your rebellion?
No.
Was pushing against that too?
I wasn't religious at all. I hated going to church.
Okay.
I just never believed that it could. I mean, when I was in Sunday school, I still didn't really couldn't grasp the fact that all this stuff the Bible was saying was actually true.
Sure.
I just found it all silly. I guess you could say very childish. It's just it's just a story about there's two different books. You got the Old Testament written for the Jews, and you got New Testament written by the Christians, and they put them together.
Sure.
They're two completely different. If you've ever read the entire Bible, it's two separate gods almost. One's very nice and one's extremely cruel.
Sure. Yeah, I get that.
But
And the Southern Baptists seem to focus a lot on the Old Testament as well, in the hellfire and the cruel. So, yeah,
Yes.
I can see why that would be off-putting. Did your grandma, was she taking you to church on Sundays every week, or what was the frequency of that?
yeah, it was for a while. It was every Sunday, sometimes on Wednesdays. I went
Mm-hmm.
to a couple Christian schools. I went to Episcopal, which I got kicked out of. I went to University Christian, and that's where I stopped going to school.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's they. One day she said, "Hey, we're gonna go check out this camp that I want you to stay at during the summer." And I was like, "Okay, cool. I don't have anything to do. Let's go." And then I thought it was weird how two guy members from our church, Mandarin Christian, were in the car with us. I didn't really see the point of that. So it was kind of weird at first. And we drove way out to Glen St. Mary, way out there, back in the woods off a dirt road. and I pulled up to this place called Camp Tracy, and I was like, all right, and I saw like all these girls wearing long shorts, which
Hmm.
I thought was weird. I pulled up to like this barn thing with like horses, and there's a bunch of hay,
Yeah.
and I got out of the car, and there's this little man with like glasses and beady eyes named Cedric, and he basically went right when I got out. He said, "Hi, I'm Cedric, and you're gonna be living here starting
Hmm.
now."
So this
And
was
I
like
just
your grandma's way of trying to save you from the evil rock and roll and drinking and stuff like that. It was kind of like a correctional thing.
yes, this was she, but yeah, I don't blame her for any of this because
Sure.
she thought she was doing like the right thing by whatever by like God, and she thought she was actually helping me. She
Yeah.
thought the place was actually going to help me.
Right.
Yeah, she was duped into it. A lot of parents were.
And what did they tell
They
you
had
it
some.
was? Like what how did your grandma put it to you? Did she say this is, to try and get your life in order, save you from hell, or like what was the sales pitch there?
Well, I mean, I didn't get one,
Okay.
because all she said was, "We're going to this place. We're gonna check it out. So if you want
Mm,
to go during the summer, you can go." And I
mm,
didn't talk to her for about 2 months after I was there. Then
wow.
she was allowed to come see me at church, and then I was like, what the fuck? Like, what's going
Yeah.
on here?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
what happened?
Right.
Like, I
So,
just feel like
so
I was like,
so you were going to check it out and she just left you there? Like it was just
yeah,
you were just
yeah,
thrown into
that's
it?
how they. Yeah, I was just thrown into it. She told me, it was a place we're gonna look at, and you might want to go during the summer. I didn't realize I was gonna be staying there
Wow.
right then and there. Because I mean, if she took me there, I'd be like, hell no. Anyway,
Right. And
I was just kind of
how old were
going.
you at this time when she took
Uh,
you?
yeah, it was January '96, so I was 16.
Okay.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
16 at the time. And I showed up. I had a big mohawk, a sleeveless Dead Kennedy shirt,
Yeah.
and they go through all your stuff. They take out clothes. They called it secular, like worldly.
Yeah.
If you had a shirt that said Black Sabbath on it or something like that, they
Right.
would definitely take it away, throw it away. Um, they cut all my hair off, and everyone had the same haircut. They all had it parted down the side, combed
Hmm.
over like the 1950s, like you're 19. It was weird. It was like going back in time,
Right.
literally.
So you don't have a say in the matter. They're just like, well, we're cutting your hair now. This is hair cutting time, and we're doing that.
They signed their parental rights at that time over to the camp. Like,
Wow.
they're your parents now. Yeah, like after that, your parents have no control over what they do.
Yeah.
You belong to them now.
Okay. Well, continue on. Where does it go from there?
Well, let's see. From there, I'll get through a typical day there. How about that? So, like, typical day, you wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning. You make your bed. You got to have the corners. They have to have it tucked in a certain way. Everything's got to be straight. Everything's got to be clean. Your closet's got to be in order. It's
Hmm.
it's kind of like they're running like a military place, but it's not a military place. They're trying to, but they're just not quite there.
Right.
Um, so we all line up. They inspect us, make sure we're not dirty. We form a line and we run about a quarter of a mile or so to the breakfast hall, and that's part of a building where the girls live. And all the girls would make breakfast. They would cook everything because that's what girls are supposed to do. They're
Right.
supposed to stay in the house. They cook it, literally. And we'd go in. We'd all stand up at our tables. We would have to recite 3 Bible verses before we got to eat, and they would be scanning us to make sure that we were saying it word for word. And if somebody wasn't, they had to go outside with a Bible, memorize it, come back in, then everybody would do it again, and it would go like that until they feel that we said it correctly and everybody would do it.
Yeah.
And then we would each, and The thing about it is, it's weird. They had an evaluation list, and this is how everything was run. And when we would go do stuff like eat, the top of the evaluation, would go first,
Hmm.
and so on and down, and then you would go get seconds. And after that, we would all line up again, and we would run. We would run a little bit further back down the road. Trying to remember the name of this building, but I can't. But it's another building, and we would stand there, and then they would give out the assignments for the day. Like, Gene, you're doing lawnmowers. You're
Hmm.
doing cows. You're in the field picking vegetables. It was different each day. Um,
So it's
so we
free
would go
labor.
do we
It's
would
free
go,
slave labor
yeah, oh
under the
yeah,
guise
man,
of
they got
correctional.
dude, they were banking, man. They were definitely banking. They made a lot of money off our parents and off us because they didn't have to pay anybody.
Yeah.
It's work. We did literally everything.
Did you,
Um, and, and
did your grandma or whoever did they have like if you were going there, did your family have to pay for you to be there as well?
yeah, yeah. They what it was is like they didn't care if you were poor or if you were rich. They had almost like a sliding scale, I guess you could say. Like if you made this much amount of money a year, they would base it
Right.
off of that. So I mean,
Well,
if your parents were making like 200,000 a year, who knows? They were probably paying like $10,000, just
right.
for you to be there. My grandma, she probably had to pay less, but it was still a lot of money
Yeah.
because she didn't have a lot of money, you
And
know.
of course,
And
they're happy
everything
to
we
do
got,
this. They're going to do the sliding scale. They're going to allow even the poor people to come in because for them, it's like, I mean, the money is just bonus on top of the slave labor that we get for the next who knows how long, so like it's a
exactly,
win-win deal for
exactly.
them whether you pay or not. So that's lovely, lovely.
And a lot of the food we got, like, it was, free food from, various places. But a lot of it was like out of date or, it, it was just like they really we didn't really eat that well. We could eat a lot, but it was all like nasty food.
Yeah.
They killed a cow there. They killed a cow. This is fucked up, dude. They killed this cow that we were gonna eat, and they literally had it strung up by a tractor right outside the dining hall where we were going to eat, like hanging
Wow.
there, like split open, like the entrails were ripped out, and they're like, "There's your dinner."
Wow.
I didn't even eat it. I tried one bite and I just wanted to throw up.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard to eat once you watch it die. But yeah, even that alone is you know, I don't know. Like if you grew up around that type of thing, like slaughtering animals and stuff like that, it's obviously not a big deal. But to do it for the like, did it seem like they were hanging it there and putting it on display as kind of a punishment to you, like another form of, psychological, I don't know, abuse to get you to, fall in line, or was it just happened to be there?
I think they did it more or less. I mean, because they're all what they're trying to do is they're trying to turn boys into men.
Yeah,
So I think that doing something like that was, you're gonna learn how to handle this because this is what
sure.
men do. It's just they're trying, but
Yeah,
yeah, there it was. They did that with pigs. It was crazy, man. I couldn't
did,
even believe it. And a lot of the boys there weren't, they weren't like tough dudes. I mean, we're all like teenagers, and
right.
they definitely were trying to toughen us up. I mean, I've seen people have to carry like 4 cinder blocks like this, put them down, go back and get the other 4, carry
Mm,
them, put them
yeah.
down. On top of that, they're extremely racist too. They would only have one black boy there at a time and one black girl at a time, and they gave them hell.
Why
Like, I
one?
mean, they got
Why not zero?
from what I
If you're
heard,
racist.
literally from what I heard from what somebody's this is what somebody told me that one of the counselors said that hold on, please stop, I'm doing something. Thank you. They're what they did was where was it? Oh yeah, okay. They thought if they had more than one that they would overthrow the camp. That's what I
Wow.
heard, but hey, I don't know if that's true. But they were extremely racist. There's no black people in the congregation. If a black person or African American person, however you want to put it, would come try to join the church, they would completely disregard them. They wouldn't talk to them. They would
Hmm.
make them feel very unwelcome, and then they would just leave. We had a group of Christian bikers come in. They didn't
Yeah.
like that because all the men had long hair, and that's men don't have long hair. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
women don't wear pants. You don't wear your. I got punished for I was sweating one day and I had a hat on and I went like this to wipe it off, and Leonard, brother Leonard, one of the people there was like, I saw you wearing your hat backwards. When we get back, you're gonna get swats. And I was like, whatever, dude. Like, you get
So
used to
yeah,
swats after a
well,
while. You don't.
let's talk about SWATs. And if you need to pause at any moment to like take care of your kids or anything like that, feel free to let me know and I can pause.
I will. I will.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Yeah. Tell me about you say the SWATs, which is something that's pretty much unheard of these days. Like corporal. It's corporal
It's
punishment, right?
very
Not capital.
corporal punishment,
Yeah.
exactly. Because that's what they told our parents, like on the piece of paper that was describing it, like what they do at the camp with us. It said punishment according to the Bible, is what it said. But they
Yeah.
called it corporal punishment, and
Hmm.
it depends on who was doing it at the time. I mean, like they would. I know Bruce, brother Bruce. He was just straight up with it. He's like, put your hands on the desk, look forward. Um, and then he's like, I'm gonna paddle you because whatever you did wrong.
Hmm.
And then so he would do it, and he was more like, straight up just,
Yeah.
nothing big, no big deal. It really wasn't. I mean, sometimes because it hurt at first because that's, we're kids, and they're just beating the crap out of us with
Right.
paddles. Some of them had holes drilled in them, and then they would pray. They would get around you and pray with you. It was strange.
Right.
Now Cedric, what he would do, he would make you put your hands like together, and then you would have to stand off to the side. So your hands are way over here and your butt's way over here.
Hmm.
And he would like kind of like go up to you and go, all right, all right. And then he would back. The only reason I know this because there's like a screen in front of me, like just like a TV screen turned off, and I could see his reflection.
Hmm.
But he would back way up as far back as he could go, and then he would run he's like I don't know, like Happy Gilmore hitting like a golf ball. He would back
Sure.
way up, and he would
You wanted to
just
make it
run
count.
at you. And man, yeah, yeah, he would. I mean, you could get anywhere up to 3 to 20.
Yeah.
Depending on just how he was feeling that day. And I think that was kind of part of this like sadist like thing he had about him.
Sure.
Like he
What
liked
were?
watching.
Oh, go ahead. You can finish
What's
that
that?
thought. I said, go ahead. You can
He
finish
just
that thought.
he liked watching us in pain. He loved it.
Mm,
And you
okay.
could tell he enjoyed it. He enjoyed what he was doing. He was
Horrifying.
really fun.
Now, yeah. So on that line, give me an example of what would be like a punishable offense that would require a swatting. Like just putting your hat on backwards, or them thinking that you put your hat on backwards. Was that enough for you to get beat?
Yeah. Oh yeah. It could be anything. I mean, it's like I said. It just depends on how they're feeling, what they're going through that day, or
Yeah.
if they're not getting any from their wife, they're probably going to be really pissed.
Yeah.
It really could be anything. It could be something like I said they thought you did. Like you could say like, "Oh my God," you could say, "Oh my God," and that
Right.
could be punishable by SWATs. It really just depended on them, and
Yeah.
it seems like they did enjoy it. It was really creepy. Like I mean, they would have if one person one time one person got in trouble, and so we all got in trouble,
Hmm.
and we were lined up outside the room, outside the field office. That's what it was called. It's a field office, and it was just this room, this tiny box that
Yeah.
had this weird smell to it. I can still smell it to this day sometimes. And we were lined up, and we'd go in, you get swatted, you go in, you get swatted, you go in, you get swatted, and then probably carrying cinder blocks. That was one of their favorite things too. They loved doing that. Loved watching us carry cinder blocks. But the paddling, the swatting for the girls was worse. They got it worse than we did, because I
Really?
talked to some of the girls from the camp, and they were made to pull their pants down. You know, they were groped. And this
Were
is
these being done
this
by
is
male instructors or females?
yeah, by the females never swatted. They
Oh,
said the only female that was ever inside that room was this guy, Leonard's wife. So when he paddled you, she would always be in there, because kind of like Cedric. I think she loved watching us get swatted. She got a kick out of it. She was messed up too.
Hmm.
But the girls definitely got it worse. A teenage girl in a room with two guys getting paddled. Who knows what else happened. I just hear from what the girls that it happened to, what they tell me. Some of them are open about it. Some of them are still messed up from it. Whatever happened in that room.
Yeah.
And they would do it anywhere. It didn't matter where you were. We could be in town somewhere, and they would find a spot where it was secluded, and they would swat you, paddle you.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So the girls, you say, got groped, or at least allegedly, assuming that they're telling the truth.
Yeah.
Which I will believe them, and I mean, based on all the other stuff that sounds like was going on there, it does not surprise me at all. But were the boys, was there any like misconduct, like physically, outside of like beating? Like, was there anything sexual or anything done with the boys that you know of?
From my couple of friends that I still talk to, Cedric was, I'm not sure about the other counselors. I didn't really get from them that they were, into us. Like they didn't want to like molest us or rape us or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
But except for Cedric, he was the only one. And a couple of my friends have told me when they had been off with him, somewhere like doing their singing boy thing, singing for churches, they would go into like a bathroom and change, and he would make them change in front of him. Like he would stand there and watch. He would stand there and watch them take showers.
Yeah.
He would like play around with them, like whip them with a towel. And he definitely was having sex with one, I know for sure, but he was 18, so it's like, as fucked up as it is, it's still legal.
Well, even if he was 18, was there like grooming leading up to the point where he's legal and able to talk about it? Like, was there? You said when we talked earlier, you said that there was like a lot of physicality and stuff like that, which sounds to me like grooming. Yeah. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Oh yeah, he definitely groomed with this person, and you would have you could tell the kids that had an easy time at the camp with Cedric. You knew something was going on.
Yeah.
Because I mean, he would, I would get punished constantly for stupid shit, and this person over here, he's on the golf cart with Cedric, riding around the camp, not having to do anything. They're always, so
Mm-hmm.
you knew like he definitely, he would take a boy, and put him in a singing group, and he was definitely like trying to, smooth his way or whatever in there. You'd see him like rubbing his shoulder sometimes, or he would straight up just come up behind him and like smack him on the ass.
Yeah.
It was disturbing.
For sure.
But this guy basically, he was doing it to have an easier time at the camp.
Yeah. So the kids kind of had an incentive to allow him to do who knows what. Like if they're getting it, if the choice is between, getting your ass beat or doing God only knows what behind closed doors, it's a tough one.
Getting raped by a fucking 35-year-old man.
Jeez. Okay. So
he was very, very dominating. Like I had a picture of a camp girl. Here's an example. My grandma took pictures, and she gave me a picture of the camp girls. And we weren't supposed to look at them. they sat in the back of the church. We sat in the front of the church.
Hmm.
And if they caught you looking, you're going to get swatted or something. But I had a picture, and somehow Cedric found out. I don't know if somebody told on me, which a lot of kids did, because that's how you got good high up on their evaluation.
Right. Favoritism.
You narked on people.
Right.
Yeah, and so he tore my entire closet apart, ripped everything out, threw everything all over the floor, grabbed me by my neck, threw me up against the wall, and was like, I know you have that picture. Where's that picture? Like literally choking me, and he was very, just slammed me up against the wall. Like I remember, like it was yesterday. Like, is it in my face? You could see, like, I don't know if you've ever heard about, people that are married to like a serial killer or something. When they get mad, their eyes turn black. That's what his did. His eyes would turn black, like he would, like almost like he was a different person,
Yeah.
And then I was like, finally, fuck it. I was like, all right, dude, yeah, it's right here. I told him where it was, and then he let me go, and then he's clean this mess up, and then go meet me in the front room. You're gonna get swatted.
Mm-hmm.
Like, dude.
And that was just for having a
Like,
picture of
right,
a girl.
Yeah, it's just for having a picture of a girl.
Wow.
All that, just for that. And then I had to carry blocks on top of that, cinder blocks.
Yeah. Yeah,
Now-
and a lot of the stuff, like, I know that it's like when people hear this, they're going to think like, oh, this is just from like the 60s or the 70s, because, it took a lot of time for like that type of stuff, like corporal punishment and that type of thing. That was much more common back in those days, but we're talking about like 96 and early 2000s probably. This camp was still going on. Do you know anything about like the history of the camp? How long it lasted for?
Yeah, well, actually, the camp started. Camp Tracy is actually named after Cedric or Wilfred McCormick's son that had killed himself. Now he killed himself because he was gay, and Wilfred McCormick is Southern Baptist, straight up, hardcore American Southern Baptist, racist piece of shit. So he definitely is not going to have a gay son. So
Sure.
What happened? Yeah, I'm sure he gave him so much shit. He probably beat him, trying to beat the gay out of him.
Yeah.
And his son just couldn't take it anymore, and he killed himself. He hung himself, and it's crazy because the logo is Camp Tracy with a rope around it.
Oh my God. Wow. So
Cattle rope that you rope cattle.
So what you're saying is the camp was named after somebody who was, shamed and beaten for his sexual preferences and killed himself, and in his honor they made a camp that beats the shit out of people for, the same kinds of things.
Yeah, we had a kid there named Brad, and he said openly, he's like, I'm gay, and he got swatted for saying that, and they're like, you are not gay. God doesn't make gay people, or God hates fags. That was like one of the things somebody said.
Yeah.
And he got it bad too, because he's just like, look, I'm gay, man. Like, I don't know what to tell you. I'm gay.
Sure.
They're gonna beat me. There's nothing they can do about it.
Yeah. Which it's interesting that this type of thing is being done by. It sounds like, based on what you've said, it sounds like guys who are grooming young boys to do things like that. And it's almost like, I'm not a psychologist or anything, but it's like they live with so much guilt themselves on their own preferences that it's like they're blocking off that part of their brain that will even acknowledge the hypocrisy in beating other people for saying that they're gay while you're grooming young boys. It's amazing. It's baffling and horrifying.
Cedric was, for what I knew, he was the only one that was doing the grooming. I don't think any other counselors were, but they knew what was they had to know what was going on. It wasn't like, I mean, it was like
so Cedric was
feeding frenzy for him.
running the whole show, and he had other counselor type people underneath him, or what was the hierarchy there?
Well, Wilford was he was like the head of, he was the head of everything. He was the preacher at Harvest Baptist, and he was the head of the camp, but he wasn't always at the camp. So yeah, his brother Cedric, he was the one in charge of everything, and
Mm-hmm.
that would go on at the camp.
Sure.
Yeah, we had a school teacher named Brother Jackson. He was all right. I didn't mind him. Just watching heard it all. He's like,
Which,
we're
when the
very
bar is
old.
set so low, like anybody who's not beating the shit out of you is like, well, he's okay because he's not hitting me currently. So I guess we'll.
Yeah.
I mean, the bar is set low on favorability at that point. What was so?
What? I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
What I don't understand either about this is just that, okay, the whole time I was there, it was the exact same members of the church.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it never changed. They never left. If someone new would come in, they would get run off. It was almost like a cult.
Yeah.
It was when I I have like this very big interest in cults and stuff like that, and I'm looking at these places almost like David Koresh, people like that. They had this group, they segregated it from
Right.
society. Now granted, he wasn't saying that he was God,
Right.
but still, it's very cultish, very cultish.
But he was acting like it. He was acting like he was God if he has that much authority over a stranger. Now, so the camp was directly tied to the church. This was the church that you were going to. So did you know all the did you know
This
the
wasn't
people
the
before
church
you
I
went
was
there?
going to.
Oh, it wasn't.
Yeah, this wasn't the church I was going to. I was going to Maynard Christian.
Okay.
Harvest Baptist is the church that is directly associated with Camp Tracy. So,
Okay.
he has the church, and then he's got the camp, and he made money from the church too, because they have their own little school system that was way overpriced. I think it was like $3,000 or something per student.
Yeah.
And before you left the camp, before he knew you were leaving the camp, and if you're going back to school, Wilford would get you in his truck, drive you around, and try to convince your parents to send them to their school.
He would try to convince you, so he was like recruiting you to recruit other kids, basically?
No, he was just trying to get me to convince my grandma that I need to go to the school when I leave the camp.
Oh, jeez.
They're trying to keep that money going from the same people.
Right. So they're trying to.
The school is exactly the same as the camp almost, except it's just in a building.
Gotcha. So was the camp, was it like an indefinite thing, or did you know like, oh, this is only going to last a summer? Like how did that work exactly?
For me, it was like I'll be 18 eventually, because once
So it
you're
was
18,
indefinite.
you're legal school.
Right.
Yeah. There was no set amount of time at all. I mean, like I said, one kid was there from the time he was 12 and until he was 18, and then they just kicked him out. There was another kid there that was 12, and they wouldn't take it easy on him just because they were 12. They got the same types of punishment everybody else got.
Yeah. So were you able to contact, were you able to tell your grandma, hey, this is a horrible place and they're beating the crap out of me, or did they allow you to contact her?
Well, see, they were allowed to visit us at the church. And of course, the first time I saw my grandma, I told her what was up. I'm like, I'm getting beat for no reason. I'm having to carry cinder blocks all over the place. I almost got killed by a bull. They're making me get cow ropes off of dead cows in their dead cow pit that they have.
Mm-hmm.
And I even had pictures of that thing. I got in trouble for that too. They call me a Satanist. But I told her. And
So they called you a Satanist for having a picture of the bull that they killed?
It wasn't just one bull. It was an entire pit. It was like a pit of dead cows. It was like Salem's Lot for cows.
Right. So you took a picture of that, and they said you were a Satanist for having a picture of it. Is that correct?
Yeah.
But they're the ones who sacrificed the animals. Like, which thing is more Satanist?
But yeah, they would yeah, and it was gross, man. Where like I'd step on like a dead cow, my foot would go through it,
Hmm.
and I had to tear it off the ropes because they would use the ropes to drag the dead cow into the pit.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've ever smelled death, but it stinks really bad, and you could smell it before you even got to the thing. And there were so many cows in there, so we'd have to go in there, take the rope off this cow. Sometimes you could pull the rope straight through its neck.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um,
So were you
yeah,
there for the full 2 years from 16 to 18 or? Okay.
yep, I was there until I was 18. Then
Wow.
they were, then they're like, all right, you're done, go.
Yeah.
It was very, very like just I don't know. At one point, you get kind of used to it, and you learn how to play their system.
Yeah.
You know, they're like, all right, you want me to, I'll pretend I'm religious. I even say it. I said I got saved. Now their evaluation had little category, whatever. You got spirituality, you got character.
Mm-hmm.
They would judge you on that, and it was a monthly thing. Now, if you're at the top of the evaluation, you're good. You could not have to work some days,
Mm-hmm.
or if Cedric would take you into town with him, which I went a couple times, and then I was like, I'm never going into town with him again,
Right.
just because the way he is, putting his hand on my leg while he's driving. But and now I went from the top of the evaluation straight to the bottom with that dead cow picture.
Yeah. Gotcha. So with the main guy Cedric, you said that he like had a relationship with one of the boys. Was there signs of things going on leading up to before he was 18? Like and you said that he was kind of groomed, but he ended up pursuing a relationship with him after that, correct?
Well, during it, they were together. Like pretty much, well, he was 17. He turned 18 after like a month, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Cedric knew that he was gay.
Yeah.
Like knew he was gay, and he played on that. And this guy wanted an easy time there, so he's like, he just fuck it, I guess, whatever. I'll do whatever you want. Which
Yeah.
still, to me, is like almost like a form of rape, because
Sure.
he didn't want to do that. But I mean, he
Right.
felt like he had to. It was his way to survive.
It's absolutely rape.
Like,
Yes. Yeah.
mm-mm.
Yeah, if somebody
And
threatens
and
to kill you if you don't have sex with them, and you begrudgingly have sex with them, that's definitely still rape. Not that that's exactly what happened,
yeah,
but that's
definitely.
the idea. So
Well, I'm
so
sure Cedric would he would threaten you. He would threaten you with he's threatened to beat your ass. He would he said one guy ran from the camp, and he ended up getting arrested. Now, when they brought him back, when they took him to jail, Cedric said he was there, and he told the guards something about that guy. And when they went in there, they told all the inmates, and the guy like got his ass jumped by a bunch of inmates.
wow. So what became of this camp? Do you know when it got shut down, or did you just kind of lose track of it and found out that it was gone?
Like when I first got out of that place, man, it fucked me up. Like
Yeah.
and I was on drugs. Yeah, I went on like a 20-year drug spree.
Yeah.
And so I still, to this day, I still think I can't get it out of my head. Sometimes I'll have nightmares about it. But I think it got shut down. There's I wish I would have kept up with it, because there's a lot of allegations came out. I mean, I found it online of the misconduct, the rapes, the mental abuse, the physical abuse.
Mm-hmm.
I know they were sued. They were sued quite a number of times.
Good.
And I think it's somewhere maybe 2010, something like that. I can't say for sure when it stopped, but when it
Mm-hmm.
stopped, they turned it into like a rehab for men, for men only. I guess, to continue the free labor.
Right.
But
So
you still
was
had
it
to
the
pay.
same kind of thing, like rehab, where you come out and you get
Um,
rehabilitated by getting the crap kicked out of you and carrying cinder blocks, or actual rehab.
And I'm not sure what it was like because this was all 18 years old and up. They wouldn't have any more kids
Yeah.
there because of all the allegations that were coming out.
Yeah.
I know right before I got there, one of the counselors, he quit, and he actually would got in trouble for uh, raping some of the boys.
Okay.
It seemed like it was like that place was like if you're a pedophile and needed a job, that was the place you wanted to go.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a free ride. So tell me more about how this affected you. You say you got, I imagine you had some trauma and depression, and you say that you did, substance abuse and stuff like that. You want to tell me more about that?
Yeah, sure. Um, yeah, basically when I got out, I was angry. I was really pissed off, and I was really pissed off at my grandma, and I ended up, running. I can't really say running away because I was 18, but
Yeah.
I was leaving home constantly, just doing whatever I wanted, and trying to, because it was hard to have a life coming out of that place because I missed so much,
Right.
and I didn't want it. I wanted to live that life that I missed. I wanted to do the
Yeah.
things that I missed out on, and it ended up taking me, down this rabbit hole of like drugs and uh, violence, and I became like a violent person after that place because I couldn't do anything about it while I was there.
Yeah.
So when I got out, all that pent up aggression and pent up anger,
Mm-hmm.
So the places it would explode. I got in lots of fights,
Mm-hmm.
over stupid shit. And then I got really heavy into drugs to try to just cope with the life, because I didn't know what to do. I had no like skills or anything.
Right.
My skills were I could bale hay, I could go out and I could pick vegetables. I can carry cinder blocks.
Right.
But
Yeah.
it was like I didn't know what to do with myself. Like it was awkward, and it was weird going back home because I was pissed off at my grandma, and it was weird living with her,
Mm-hmm.
because in my mind at that time I was like, why could you do that? Leave me there in that place. I told you what it was like.
Yeah.
I told you they beating us. Their physical abuse was an everyday thing. The mental abuse was really bad, but
Yeah.
I had I have a pretty strong mind. I didn't let a lot of stuff they say get to me.
Mm-hmm.
My dad died when I was in the camp,
Hmm.
and I was allowed to go. I was allowed to go to the funeral, and then I had to go straight back to the camp. And then when I got back, I got swats from Cedric.
For going when they said that you could go?
Well, no, because when I went home, I went to one of my friend's house, and I guess my grandma couldn't find me, so she called them, the camp. So when I
Mm-hmm.
got back, I got swats and
Yeah.
all that, and I
Gotcha.
went back down to the bottom of the evaluation, and
Yeah.
yeah, and they would make us do like. Let me tell you this one thing.
Sure.
This is what Cedric called it. He called it round one. Okay. I'm gonna try to explain it. I can like slowly.
Sure.
So you had your dorms. You had, I think there was 8 dorms. Um, three boys to a dorm at the time, maybe 4. So it was like 24 to 32 boys at a time. So we would go out on the front porch of our dorm house. We would line up, and everyone would start doing push-ups. Just continue push-ups, up, down, up, down. Now, the first person in the first dorm would run around the building 10 times.
Mm-hmm.
And after he was done doing that, he would come back and do push-ups. The next person would go run around the building 10 times. And we would do that until everybody did it. Now, keep in mind, this whole time, everyone's still doing push-ups.
Right. Wow.
And this would go on until early in the morning, and then we'd have to run and go eat breakfast.
Yeah. So what were like the hours for the day? Was it pretty much nonstop from morning to night working, or did you have any time for other stuff?
No, there's no any kind of our time, no any kind of free time, nothing like
Hmm.
that. We never really got a chance to just. The only times that would happen is when it would rain because we couldn't do anything. Sometimes they would make us do stuff in the rain, like run, or
Hmm.
if we got in trouble. But for most part, when it rained, we would go inside one of their barns and clean up, or like what me and this other guy would do. We would go to the hay barn and we would like move some hay around and go back there and just go to sleep.
Yeah. Yeah. So you weren't allowed to leave for outside of your dad's funeral. You weren't allowed to like go home for holidays or anything like that. It was just church and then back to the farm.
Well, we got to go home for Christmas for a couple days, but then somebody ran away, so they stopped that. No more going home for Christmas.
Wow.
That was the only time. Yeah. Other than that, no, we were there. We were either there or we were at the church in Arlington.
Yeah. How was and I know that it's like when you're in that okay. How do I phrase this? How did nobody say in church, "Hey, these people are abusing us," like to all the congregation? Was there that much of like I guess
No,
kind
like
of a
I said,
brainwashing where everybody was just kind of like, well, we'll get beat if we say something, and these people are in cahoots with this, so there's no point in talking about it in public, or what was that
there, yeah,
like?
that's what it was. Because like I said, they had the exact same church members, the
Hmm.
exact same, and they are all associated with the school or the camp in one way or another. So they all knew what was going on. Everybody in that congregation knew exactly what was going on. It was like one big family, you know.
Hmm.
There, it was the same people that had been going there for years,
Yeah.
you know, exact same family. So yeah, everybody knew what was going on. Yeah,
Yeah.
everybody. There was no, I mean, they, yeah. It was like you had no one to turn to for anything,
Hmm.
except yourself. You couldn't even turn to your family. You couldn't really even turn to another camp boy because they're probably gonna narc on you. You
Right.
know, just just to get higher up on this evaluation thing.
Yeah. Absolutely. Horrifying. And I imagine this did not make you more of a religious person when you weren't to begin with. Did it? Like have your thoughts on like God or like rebellion and stuff like that? How have those evolved after getting the crap kicked out of you for 2 years straight?
Well, I personally, I'm an atheist, I guess you could say,
Sure.
but it it's got me interested in other. I don't want to like I actually study like try to study other religions
Yeah.
for some reason. I don't know why. It's got me thinking. I'm trying to find like why people why people can follow this like archaic story or
Sure.
why they believe how because some of these religions out there are just ridiculous, like Mormons. It's freaking crazy.
Sure.
And I don't, and I had a lot, like, I still have issues with authority. I don't like cops. I don't like judges. That hasn't changed.
Hmm.
Ever since that place, I had a huge problem with authority. Huge
Yeah.
problem. I didn't want to hear it, man. Like, even to this
So what
day,
you're saying
still, I mean,
is you were sent there to make you less rebellious and more Christian and godly or whatever, and instead it made you a hardcore atheist who hates authority even more than they did before they went in, right?
I respect. Yeah, it was complete opposite.
Yeah.
I think I came out worse. I came out a lot
Oh, for
worse than
sure.
when I was when.
Yeah.
Like if I would have never went to that place, I mean, I don't. You can't really say what could have happened, but that place definitely made me angry against the church. It made me angry against authority. It
Yeah.
made me angry against grandmother. Like I, yeah, I was a lot worse when I came out. A lot worse, and I was 18, so I was free to really do whatever I wanted.
Right. Now
Uh,
this Baptist church, was it like I lose track of how the different denominations and stuff always work. My dad was actually a pastor, so I understand it to some degree, but like was this church part of a bigger like Baptist organization, or were they just kind of like an offshoot church that went under the name of like Southern Baptist?
Man, I'm gonna have to get back to you on that because it actually is, but I can't. Recently just found this out. Man, I'm gonna have to get back to you on that because I was talking to somebody and they're telling me it is associated with a bigger organization that has other churches like in it. Man, yeah, I can't remember, but that is right.
Okay.
At first, I thought it was just like its own entity, but
Right.
no, it's part of this other thing. And I could definitely get back to you on that. I just got to talk to this girl who actually found me because she was doing the same thing, almost like you're doing. It's not like a radio show, but she's trying to find people at that camp and other places. It's called Preacher Boys. Have you ever heard Preacher Boys? Have you
No, I
heard of
haven't.
that?
Mm-mm.
It's also another radio show, but it's mainly exposing churches and corruption and
Sure.
the rapists and all that.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's definitely another. It's part of something else, but yeah, it secluded itself from the outside world. Like,
Yeah. So when you obviously you have negative feelings toward that church and that camp and the terrible people that ran it, do you have I guess reservation, or do you think it is a problem that goes on in more Baptist church or churches or other denominations or stuff like that? Have you seen a bunch of have you seen other people with similar stories to yours, or is this a isolated incident?
oh no, I mean, it definitely it's a problem. Like these little like churches, man. A lot of these churches, some of the people in them actually use it as a wall or like a mat, or
Cover,
they
yeah.
use it to hide who they really are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I completely, because I've known kids who they're in church on every Sunday and they're singing and worshiping God, and when they go home, dad gets drunk and beats the shit out of mom.
Sure.
You know, it's definitely it is a problem. I feel like it is. I feel like a lot of churches, there are people in there who have hidden agenda, and they use that to cover it up to make them look like this great functioning member of society
Sure.
when they're really a pedophile, or they're really a wife abuser, or they're really this or that. It's definitely, I don't feel like this is isolated. I feel it's like just part of a major problem.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, the Catholic Church, I mean, just like that, man. The priests molesting altar boys. Except
Right.
Baptists, like the people in there are more secretive. They try,
Yeah, they run a lot of cover for them and move them around to keep them safe. But yeah, and if there are things on the surface like your story, if there's that we know about, I can only assume that there's more of that and probably worse, around the country. Where was this camp? Like, what state was this in?
Glen St. Mary, Florida.
Okay.
Like probably 45 minutes away from Jacksonville, Florida.
Okay. Were you I imagine it's the same as far as like running away or something like that. Like, was it secluded enough that you wouldn't be able to make it far and you just knew that you'd get the crap kicked out of you if you tried, or did you ever try?
I ran away from it.
Oh yeah.
What I did was, we got ready for church, and I put clothes on underneath my church clothes.
Mm-hmm.
I brought some scissors with me. We were in between services. We would all go in this one room where we could chill, we could take a nap if we wanted to, whatever. And one of the preachers was actually he wasn't a preacher, he was the music director who actually left the church because he cheated on his wife.
Mm-hmm. Classic story.
He just he turned his back, and my buddy Aaron, one of the few people I could trust there, he saw me like open a door and everyone's kind of sleeping or they're sleeping, and he was just like, go, go, go. So I just ran out the door, ran to a gas station, took off the clothes, cut all my hair off. Um, I walked across the Matthews Bridge
Mm-hmm.
to into downtown Jacksonville.
Yeah.
And I was gone for a little while, but I made the mistake of calling my grandmother,
Hmm.
and of course she's worried, so she called the camp. I saw a cop pull up, and as soon as the cop pulled up, one of the camp members came in, and they got me, and
So were
took
were
me
the
back, and
cops involved in this? Like, was this something that was known around town that this existed, and the cops helped bring the kids back if they
in
escaped?
Glen St. Mary. Yeah, in Glen St. Mary, the cops, they wouldn't take you to jail. They'd take you straight back to the camp. I stole cigarettes. I stole a bottle of wine. I got busted. Never took me to jail. Took me straight back to the camp. The cops, yeah, they worked with the cops.
Wow.
They're, they and I have a feeling that the cops knew more about what was going on because Cedric was really in with them because this is basically like a tiny town.
Yeah.
Like Cedric was on the volunteer department, that's still there. And I think, yeah. So, yeah, the
Hmm.
cops definitely, at least worked with them. They definitely worked with them.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, has your grandma passed on now at this point, or is she still
Yeah,
alive?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you ever
No, she,
have like a chance to like make amends with her, or did was it just kind of an
yeah.
unspoken thing?
Well, I don't know if I really made amends. Like, I ended up, like I said, I had a bad drug habit, and I would steal from her. I'd steal her pain pills, and, I think that was me kind of like venting, like
Yeah.
still angry about it.
Yeah.
Like, we never really, she never really said, sorry for what happened. I didn't know that would happen.
Yeah.
She never, yeah, it was like just never really spoken. I
Yeah.
mean, I know she felt bad about it, but at the same time, it's just like, whatever, man. What are you gonna do? You
Yeah.
know? And at the
Can't get it
time,
back.
I just didn't. Yeah, and
Can't
at
get
the
that time
time, I
back.
just didn't give it. I was just trying to forget that place.
Right.
And still, even to this day, it's hard to forget it. I mean, I talked to my friend Brian, and I've been talking to him since basically we were 16, and
Hmm.
we still talk about the place. Still like a major part of our lives. Even though 2 little years or however long I was there, it still had that much of an impact to where it almost like affects me today sometimes.
Well, and
It
yeah,
does affect
it's and I've talked about this in many cases on the show, like that those are prime years for brain development. Like that's like some of the most crucial personality forming times in a child's life, and instead of trying to figure out what the world is like you're supposed to be doing it from 16 to 18 and figuring out what you want to do with your life and getting jobs and things like that, you were instead being kicked around a farm for 2 years. And I'm just going to say, if everything you're saying is true, which I believe that it is, it was it was physical, it was mental, it was child abuse. It was, and your grandmother bought into something where she paid money to have somebody else abuse you. I don't care how bad you are. That's unacceptable for them to have done that.
yeah.
And if it's still happening, which I'm sure it is in certain places, like this is essentially human trafficking, whether it was sexual or not.
Yes.
This
Yeah.
is passing children around to to do your bidding, and it's unacceptable.
Yeah, even to this day, I don't want people to say yes sir to me. I'm not going to say yes sir to you.
Yeah.
Nothing like that. Yeah, 'cause it makes me think about that play, and it's crazy how like still I'll say like when I talk about Cedric, I'll say brother Cedric sometimes. Oh my
Right.
God, I hate when I do that.
Yeah. It's
Like he actually, I actually fucked him up a little bit. Uh, I still like he goes around the churches now. He's got a son, which is scary to me.
mhm.
But who knows? And he probably doesn't even do anything to his kid. He probably doesn't. That's the fucked up part. But him and his wife, they go around and they do their singing thing. So I was like, all right, I went and found out their schedule, and I get on Facebook and I started calling these churches, talking to the pastor, telling him about Cedric, telling him what
Yeah.
he did, telling him about all this stuff that happened at Camp Tracy. You know, if they want more proof, fine, I got it. I got people that'll tell you the same thing. You
Yeah.
know, and a couple of the places said, okay, look, we're gonna call him and we're gonna cancel him. We don't want him here. I'm like, you don't want him here. He's going off to the Philippines, and who knows what he's doing with
Oh,
kids in
geez.
that country.
Yeah. So is
You know,
he's still working in ministry?
he's
He's doing like missionary
yeah,
work or what?
he's he's going around. He's just doing his singing thing. Is what he is selling.
Okay.
Probably old singing voice to churches. They pay him to be there. They're basically living out of this big RV.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that's what he does. He just travels around the country, and
Wow.
he's still kids are still being exposed to him at churches. These people don't know what he's about. I'm not trying to say there's a way to act gay, nothing like that, but this guy, I thought he was gay the moment I met him. The moment I
Sure.
first met him, because he obviously, you could just tell, like, not just the way he acted, but just the things he did, like, like laying his hand on your leg, stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that, like
Yeah.
creepy things. And
Yeah.
he was a main impact on me. Like I still like, man, if I saw him today, I don't know what would happen. I would probably most assuredly beat the shit out of him. I
Yeah.
know that much. I don't know. There's nothing that can stop me. I just like that's just how bad like it was. That's how bad he would try to mentally abuse you
Mm-hmm.
physically. He definitely was a big factor. I feel like I know I make my own decisions and all,
Yeah.
but I feel that was an impact on me. It impacted my life and how I was using drugs and stuff. Just to
Absolutely.
cover up
Of
all
course.
that shit that happened. And then I had no skills to deal with life at all.
Right.
I had no skills. I had learned the way I learned to deal with load. I didn't learn it. The way they taught us to deal with life is to pray about it.
Right.
That was how you deal with life.
Yeah.
Pray about it. God has a plan.
So was Cedric, was he ever, you said that there was some legal issues. Was he ever like officially accused of any wrongdoing, or is he just, I
They
mean, if he's
settled.
going around to
They
churches,
settled
he
out of
must be
court.
doing okay.
They settled out of court. Every time they would go to court, they would buy him off. You
Wow.
know, it sucks because I'm the type of person I'd be like, hell no, I don't care about your money. I really
Right.
don't. I would love to go to court and just expose him out in public, out on the record.
Yeah.
I want to get him on a stand, get him to lie about, molesting kids and raping them, and manipulation that he did with them and the lives he destroyed.
Yeah.
There's a lot of kids, man, that went like my buddy Brian. He went to prison. Uh, my buddy Andy went to prison. I've been to jail. You know, a lot of these kids' lives were locked up when they left
Yeah.
that place because they didn't know how to deal with everyday issues. Then they were angry and they had all this anger inside of them. I still have anger inside of me. It's taken me a long time and a lot of like hard work to work on myself to be a patient person and to not just fly out the handle when something pisses me off.
Yeah. I can imagine. Now, where are you at today with all this? You said that you've been working on yourself. Have you gone through like therapy and stuff? And just so you know, there's no judgment here. Like if you're still using, it's totally your prerogative. Where are you at with the drugs and relationships and in life right now?
Right now I'm actually doing really really well. I actually love my life, and this all just about 3 years ago is when everything started falling into place. It's where I'm not doing drugs. I have a really good relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we have a daughter together. We don't argue. We do everything. We're diplomatic, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
I don't have all that. I've learned to channel all my anger and in the other things, whether it's playing video games or just working my ass off at work.
Yeah.
I definitely got good work ethic now. because of that. But it took a long time, man. It took me from when I left at 18 years old up until I was about 38 years old, 37, 38 years old. It took me that long to finally start getting my life together.
Yeah. Yeah, I can
Just
imagine.
some stuff. I don't even have to file taxes. It's fucking crazy.
Yeah. Well, what would you say to, and first off, I want to say to anybody out there who's got similar stories to Gene's here, please reach out, and I will do my best to connect you with people who can help and, help get your stories out there, because I don't care what denomination or what, religion you believe, even if it was the exact same things that I believe. If you're God, if there is a God, he does not approve of this. He does not approve of child abuse in any form or fashion. I can guarantee you that. So please reach out to me, and I will do my best to pair you up with people and help get your story out there. So, Gene, thank you so much for being here and sharing your story. I really appreciate it, and think a lot of more people need to hear this type of thing, because we hear about it or we see it in like movies and stuff, but nobody really hears like the actual nitty gritty terribleness of some of the stuff that goes on behind the scenes. What's something like, what would you say to somebody out there who has gone through something similar? Maybe they're like bottoming out. Maybe they're where you were at like age 20 and, drinking themselves to death and doing drugs and things like that. What would you say to that type of person who is experiencing that type of thing?
For me, when I got to a point to where I could talk about it, and I would say that that's something that they should do. Don't be ashamed, because it's not your fault. All that stuff
Yeah.
that whatever happened, it's not your fault. You couldn't control it. Don't be afraid to come out and say it, talk about it, because when you talk about this kind of stuff, it actually makes you feel better. Some people might be embarrassed by it, but you can't be embarrassed. It's nothing that you did. I didn't put myself there. I'm not the one who decided how I was going to get punished. That it was just these fucked up people. And yeah, I would just say, don't be scared, don't be embarrassed. Just tell your story somehow, like I'm doing. I'll talk to anybody who wants to have an open mind and talk to me about this.
Mm-hmm.
I will share my story. I'm not gonna hold anything back. I'll tell you exactly what you want to know. Any question you have, I'll answer.
Yeah.
Even if the answer is gonna be hard to hear. But
Yeah.
I just don't want I don't want anybody to go down that road I went down, because they couldn't cope with what had happened. I kept it inside. I didn't talk about it for years. But it definitely feels good to get it out and have these channels and stuff like yours, these platforms,
Mm-hmm.
help a lot. And now it's getting out more than just me telling a couple of my buddies. It's me telling like however many people are listening to this. And
Yeah.
there's got to be someone out there who went through it, and if there is, they can contact me. Anybody can talk to me, or I'm not like a therapist or anything like that, but I can just tell you exactly how I dealt with stuff. Like eventually, like
Mm-hmm.
there are positive ways to do things. And at first, yeah, the drugs work, but then the drugs can start punishing you worse than these
Right.
people.
Yeah.
Just don't be afraid to say your story. I wouldn't. It helps, and it'll help other people. You never know who you can help just by sharing what you went through.
Absolutely. And it's a great place to leave it. A good note to end on. Do you have any other final thoughts or anything that you want to, anything that we didn't touch on before we kick out of here?
Um, I just hope one day that these people realize what they did and how many lives they destroyed. And I don't know. I don't even think an apology would do it. Uh, I don't know. It's hard to say, um, exactly, because of course I have hostile feelings toward it all. But
Yeah.
I don't know. One day, if their God does exist, they will meet him and they will get punished. You
Sure.
know. But
Yeah. Let's hope. Let's hope justice comes. Because what you've described is absolutely horrendous, and I applaud you for sharing it with everybody. I think it's tremendously helpful and more needed than ever right now with all the human trafficking that is going on that people are ignoring. We need to, even at not, I would say smaller levels, like not straight up trafficking, like selling children, but an offshoot of that. That's pretty much what we're describing here. And we need to shine lights on it, shine lights into dark places, and, get the truth out there. But Gene, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it once again. And we'll have to have you back on in the future for an update.
Yeah, I'm free. Let me know, man. I really appreciate it. I really, really do appreciate this a lot.
Awesome. Well, guys, thank you for tuning in to the show. Thank you for sitting through such uncomfortable stuff, but that's what we're all about here. It's not always fun and poking fun at the news. Sometimes we gotta do the description of the show and question everything and stay uncomfortable. And I know plenty of Southern Baptists. I know plenty of Baptists, and all of the ones that I know directly are good people. So I'm not here to discredit them and their views or their work or anything like that. But, it doesn't matter it doesn't matter what your beliefs are. It doesn't matter what your religion is. What matters is the crimes that you are committing, and in the name of God, which makes it even worse. But that's a great note to leave it on. Go sign up for the Downers Club at patreon.com/thesystemIsDown, where you'll get bonus episodes of the show every week. And, drop me a line. All that stuff that's scrolling across the bottom. My number 309-716-3818. You can email me at dan@tsidpod.com. You can send me, normal mail, snail mail at P.O. Box 84, Alito, Illinois 61231. And I say that as not just a way to say, hey, contact me and talk about the show. No, contact me if you have any problems, if you want help working through this stuff. I'm just a guy. I don't necessarily know anything, but I will do my best in every way to help you get in touch with professionals and people that will help you in these types of situations. So reach out however you can. I don't know how to end a show like this, because the outro is going to be all happy and fun. So until next time, please continue to question everything, stay uncomfortable, and I'll talk to you then. Thanks, guys.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe on your way out and help us change the world one uncomfortable conversation at a time. And if you like what you hear and you want to hear more, go join the Downers Club at patreon.com/thesystemsdown for bonus episodes of the show every single week. Until next time, please continue to question everything, stay uncomfortable, and I'll talk to you then. Thanks.
This has been a Goulash Media production. goulashmedia.net.
This concludes our broadcast day. Click.